Greetings, everybody. Wonderful you could be with us for a update on traveller sentiment in this time of crisis with the ongoing impact of COVID-19. The latest research from the bi-weekly travel sentiment study. And I'm going to be passing over to Amir Alon, a very good friend and colleague, President and CEO of Longwoods International, in a moment. My name's Chris Adams. I look after research and insights at Miles Partnership. We're going to be sharing the latest insights, and then I'm going to just have a few suggestions and recommendations based on this up-to-the-minute look at how American travellers are thinking about COVID and their travel plans. We have a web portal where this research is available, and it's also stacked full of other resources, including a huge library of upcoming and past webinars and data sources and insights from both Longwoods and other partners. We do a 2-page summary as well as the full slide deck, so tap into that. And just a reminder about funding. So a couple of weeks ago, we held a major transatlantic webinar detailing insights from 2 very large studies in North America and Europe on funding options in tourism for DMOs. So huge amounts of great resources there, all available at that website. You can see down there, milespartnership.com/funding for tomorrow. And so without further ado, over to you, Amir, on what are we seeing on how Americans are thinking about COVID?
Thank you, Chris. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, folks. It's good to be back. Unfortunately, some of the downward trend is continuing and in fact accelerating right now. This survey, for the record, was fielded one day before the CDC issued its warning encouraging Americans not to travel over the holiday season. But there were enough preliminary warnings from other local state health departments and so forth that it was coming across already. So it's already having its impact with the news cycle and sentiment. So as we can see right here, 77% of American travelers are now in the process of changing their plans due to the pandemic. Almost half have reduced their travel plans in some form or fashion. About a little over a third are canceling a trip altogether. 1/3 continue to change from flying to drive market destinations, and about 16%, there's still a few international trips on the books that folks are just refiguring and moving it over to domestic. So let's move over and look at the trend lines. Well, the roller coaster, it was going down and now it's climbing back up again. As you can see, 77% of American travelers changing plans. That equals, the last time we saw that kind of height was in mid-July, or if you recall, when we had kind of the summer surge after the early summer travel spikes or COVID spikes. So not surprised to see that happening. The good news is reduction in plans are still greatly outnumbering those who are canceling their trips altogether. But you also have to take that with a grain of salt because by all indicators, folks are hesitating on planning additional trips too. So kind of what we're expecting. And then, of course, regional drive market focus for those who are going to venture, that are going to go by car. And then we've talked before about the opportunity to gain some market share from those Americans who would have traveled abroad again domestically. But again, look at where we are with the current pandemic state. And we always talk about transportation costs, economic concerns, and fear of coronavirus as 3 key factors that would impact the decision to travel in the next 6 months. The transportation and the economic concerns remain low. The fear of coronavirus remains high. But again, I'll point out a couple silver linings here. Notice, despite the big changes in indicators in negative directions, we are still seeing that fear of coronavirus holding steady right around 50%, where it's been for a while there, which again, it's kind of hit that plateau point. We don't expect that to see that swinging so much anymore, especially because it's tempered probably with the news of the vaccine development that's getting close to FDA approval. So at least the first one's getting close to FDA approval. So now we're kind of looking at market forces working at both ends of the spectrum there and keeping it steady. Economic concerns, you can see, went low again, and again mirrors exactly where we were in mid-July at 16%. there. So you can see when the cases, the fear of coronavirus spikes up a little bit, the economic concern goes down a little bit, but it's still been relatively low because, again, not a question about whether I can afford to travel. It's a question of how and when I'm going to travel. And then, we always ask, do you have plans to travel in the next 6 months? And look at that, 62%. This is probably the biggest silver lining we have here this week. 62% of traveling Americans are still planning to travel in the next 6 months. So what's happened here? They've taken their near-term plans. Maybe they were planning holiday travel, et cetera, maybe a little ski trip early in the winter or so forth. Well, they're just putting it back a little bit. They're going, well, we're getting close to vaccine now. Things are kind of imminent. That might be positive. So we're just going to wait a little. We've made it this far. We're going to wait a little bit longer. And that's where a lot of the traveler mindset must be shifting to. Our custom question this week, we asked a question that we asked 1 month ago, so 2 waves ago, back in wave 23, about key factors that are preventing travelers from taking their trip. Of course, the fear of catching or spreading coronavirus is dominating. And again, like we saw about a month ago, the travel restrictions, the lack of clarity on health and safety protocols are significant. As you go down right near the bottom there, look at that. It went up from 1 in 5 to 1 in 4. 1 in 4 American travelers now are not sure if they're welcome to the destinations that they're interested in visiting. And that little sidebar box on the right there, 9%, only 9% of American travelers have no hesitation whatsoever of traveling, which, obviously that's a sweet spot. We like those people, of course, but that's down from 13% just a month ago. And when you look at all these factors from a month ago, you see significant movement on the key ones there. And as we talk to these travelers, also as residents, you can see now that 44% of American travelers do not plan to travel until there is a vaccine available for them. And that's up just 10 points. It's up 10 points in just 2 weeks. That was 34% just 2 weeks ago. So, of course, as we, it's kind of a victim of the good news in a certain way. Obviously, the surge is impacting that, but also I think the fact that vaccines are imminent, people are saying, "Oh, I'll wait just a little bit longer," right? And again, still division on the other key factors. We'll look at these real quickly here as we wrap up. Support for opening up the community to visitors, down 7 points in just 2 weeks. Again, no surprise there with the news of the surge. Feeling safe traveling outside the community, again, down 7 points in just 2 weeks. Same reason. But look, feeling safe dining and shopping locally, that actually held relatively steady. It's, only down 3 points. That's almost within the margin of error. It's about plus or minus 2 points. So again, at least the closer you got to home, the little safer you felt. And as we know, shopping and dining locally are kind of key steps to getting people moving again. So again, small silver lining, but it's there. So Chris, as I always say, that is my story. I'm sticking to it, and I am turning it back over to you, my friend, to wrap this puppy up.
Okay. Yes. So, some somber news there, some silver linings, as you're indicating. So, we've got this paradigm between some pretty challenging news and outlook over the next few months, and then obviously a much more positive outlook as we get into April, May onwards next year. So obviously we need to be revisiting our plans and destinations and businesses for survival over the next few months versus setting ourselves up for recovery. Obviously VFR travel, which has been a important part of the travel we've seen during the pandemic, that's going to be particularly impacted by the official advice that has now been shared widely. And so both during the holidays and beyond, VFR travel is not going to be probably at the levels that we had originally hoped. And so focusing even more on our locals and short-term mitigation efforts to really support local businesses, whether it's through gift cards, online purchases, takeouts, takeaways, donations. There's a huge variety of free small business tools available on Google, Facebook, Yelp and other platforms, in addition to your own destination marketing channels. So double down on those. and then obviously look towards that medium-term recovery strategy. So all the very best to everybody for your holidays and time with your families over Thanksgiving. All the resources are available on our website. So please reach out to us, and we look forward to connecting with you guys very shortly. Thanks again. Be safe and be well.
Bye.